My beloved child, listen closely because this message is not random and it did not find you by accident. There is something unfolding behind the scenes that you have felt in your heart but could never fully prove, and now the silence that once surrounded your name is finally breaking. Yes, the person you love, the one who once held back their words, who hid their emotions behind distance, confusion, or even pride, has spoken about you. And what they said carries a weight that is about to shake everything you thought you understood about your connection, because this was not casual talk, this was not meaningless conversation, this was something deeper, something they could not hold in any longer, something that slipped out when their guard was down. And you need to understand this clearly: when a person who has been silent finally speaks, it is never small, it is never empty. It is always loaded with truth, emotion, and revelation, and what they revealed about you says more about their heart than their silence ever did. They spoke your name in a moment where they could have chosen anyone else. They expressed thoughts about you that they have been carrying for a long time, thoughts that have been growing quietly while you were wondering if they even cared. And this is where everything begins to shift for you. Because you have been living in uncertainty, questioning signs, overthinking their actions, wondering why things felt unfinished. But now you are being shown that nothing was ever one-sided, nothing was ever meaningless. They have been thinking, remembering, and feeling in ways they never showed you directly, and what they said reveals that you have left a mark on their soul that they cannot erase. No matter how much time has passed or how much distance has come between you. And here is the part that will shake you the most: what they said was not just about who you were, it was about what you still are to them right now, in this very moment. Because while you may have thought they moved on or forgot, the truth is they have been carrying your presence within them, comparing others to you, replaying memories, wondering about what could have been, and even questioning their own decisions. And when they finally spoke, it was not controlled, it was not filtered, it was raw, it was honest, it was real. And that kind of truth cannot be faked, it cannot be forced. It only comes out when the heart can no longer stay quiet. And this is your confirmation that what you felt was never an illusion. You were not overthinking, you were not imagining the connection. You were feeling something real that they themselves are now unable to deny. And you need to hear this carefully, because this is where many people make a mistake. Just because someone speaks about you does not mean they are ready. Just because they reveal feelings does not mean they have healed. And just because they miss you does not mean they know how to come back the right way. And this is why this moment is so powerful. Because it is not just about what they said, it is about what you choose to do with this truth. You are being shown the hidden side of their emotions, but you are also being tested to see if you will lose yourself again chasing someone who is still figuring themselves out, because their words, as deep and emotional as they may be, are only one part of the story. Their actions, their growth, their readiness, these are the parts that truly determine what happens next. And right now, you are standing at a point where clarity is entering your life, where illusions are breaking, where you are no longer being kept in the dark. And that is not by coincidence, that is by design, because you needed to reach a level of awareness before this truth could come to you. You needed to grow stronger, wiser, more aware of your own worth, so that when you heard what they said, you would not immediately run back blindly, but instead pause, reflect, and understand the deeper meaning behind it. And here is something that will hit you deeply. What they said about you was filled with a mix of regret and admiration. They spoke about how you were different, how you cared in ways others did not, how you understood them in ways they did not even understand themselves. And this realization did not come easily to them. It came after experiences, after comparisons, After moments where they realized that what they lost was not something they could easily replace, and that is why their silence broke, because reality caught up with them, and when reality hits, it forces truth to come out, no matter how much someone tries to suppress it. And now that this truth is out, even if it was not said directly to you, it has created a shift in energy, a shift that you can feel even if you cannot fully explain it yet, because energy does not lie. What is spoken about you with real emotion carries a vibration that finds its way back to you, and that is why you feel this pull. This curiosity, this sense that something has changed, because something has, and this is where your power comes in. You are no longer the same person you were when things first happened between you and them. You have evolved, you have learned, you have seen things from a different perspective, and now you have the opportunity to respond differently, not from a place of longing or desperation, but from a place of clarity and strength. And that is what will determine how this story continues. Because make no mistake, this is not the end of the story. This is a turning point, a moment where hidden truths are coming to the surface, where emotions that were buried are being acknowledged, and where both of you are being given a chance to either grow together or finally release what no longer serves you. And you need to understand this deeply. Sometimes the purpose of someone speaking about you is not to bring them back into your life, but to give you the closure, validation, or understanding you needed to move forward with peace. And other times, it is the beginning of a reconnection that will only work if both people have truly changed, and that is something only time and actions can reveal, not just words, no matter how powerful those words may be. So as you sit with this realization, as you process what has been revealed, do not rush, do not react impulsively, allow yourself to feel it fully, to understand it deeply, and to decide from a place of self-respect what this means for you, because you deserve more than hidden conversations and indirect confessions. You deserve clarity, consistency, and someone who not only speaks about you with love but also shows it to you openly, without hesitation, without fear, and without conditions. And if they are meant to return in a way that aligns with your growth, they will, not just with words, but with actions that match everything they have been feeling and finally admitted. And if they do not, then this revelation is still a gift. Because it frees you from doubt, it confirms your intuition, and it allows you to move forward without questioning your worth, knowing that you were never the problem, you were the lesson they are now learning too late. And that realization, my beloved child, is what truly shakes everything, because it shifts the power back into your hands, where it has always belonged. My beloved child, now as you continue to absorb what has been revealed, there is something even deeper you must understand. Because what they said was only the surface of what is truly happening within them. Their words were just a glimpse into a storm of emotions they have been trying to control for a long time. And the truth is, they did not just speak about you once and forget. Your name has come up more than you realize, in different moments, in different conversations, sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly. Because when someone carries unresolved feelings, those feelings find a way to express themselves, whether they intend to or not. And what makes this even more intense is the fact that when they spoke about you, there was a noticeable shift in their tone, a pause, a hesitation, almost as if they were stepping into a space they had been avoiding. And that kind of reaction does not come from indifference. It comes from depth. It comes from something that still holds power over them. And you need to understand this clearly. People do not hesitate when they talk about someone they have completely moved on from. They do not feel that emotional weight. They do not struggle to find the right words. But in your case, they did. and that alone tells you that what exists between you and them is not something that has been resolved or finished. It is something that is still alive beneath the surface, still waiting for clarity, still holding on to meaning that neither of you fully explored when you had the chance. And here is where things become even more revealing, because what they said was not only emotional, it was also reflective. They spoke about moments they once overlooked, things you did that they did not fully appreciate at the time, the way you showed up for them, the way you understood their silence, the way you stayed patient when they were confused, and now those same things have become the very reasons they cannot forget you, because time has a way of revealing value that was once taken for granted. And this is something you must never ignore, because it shows that their perspective has changed, and when someone's perspective changes, it means they are no longer the same person they were when they made the choices that created distance between you. But here is the truth that you must hold on to with strength. Change in perspective does not always mean change in behavior, and this is where your awareness must stay sharp, because it is easy to be moved by what someone feels. But it is much more important to observe what they do, and right now, you are being given insight into their emotions, but you have not yet seen the full expression of their growth, and until that happens, you must remain grounded in your own worth, because you did not go through everything you went through just to return to the same cycle. You did not learn all those lessons just to ignore them when things start to feel familiar again, and this is the moment where your strength will be tested. Because part of you may feel pulled towards them, curious about what more they have to say, wondering if this is the beginning of something new, but another part of you, the part that has grown, the part that has healed, will remind you to move with awareness, to not lose yourself in someone else's realization, no matter how sincere it may seem. And here is something that will hit even deeper. What they said about you was not just about the past, it was also filled with questions about the present. They are wondering where you are in your life right now, who you are becoming, whether you have moved on, whether you still think about them, and this curiosity is not random. It is coming from a place of realization that they may have lost something they did not fully understand at the time, and now they are trying to make sense of it, trying to figure out if there is still a connection, if there is still a chance, and this is where the energy between you begins to shift even more. Because when someone starts to question your absence, it creates a pull, a desire to reconnect. But again, my beloved child, you must not confuse curiosity with commitment. You must not mistake reflection for readiness, because many people reach a point where they understand what they lost, but not everyone reaches the point where they are willing to do the work to regain it in a healthy way. And this is why your role in this moment is not to chase, not to prove, not to reopen doors that they once closed. Your role is to observe, to stay centered, and to allow things to unfold naturally, without forcing an outcome. Because if their realization is real, if their feelings are truly deep, then they will not stop at speaking about you. They will eventually reach a point where they feel the need to express those thoughts directly, to take action, to step forward in a way that matches the weight of what they have been feeling. And if that moment comes, you will recognize it, not because of what they say, but because of how consistent and intentional they are in showing up. And until then, everything remains a possibility, not a promise, and you must treat it as such. And there is something else you need to hear, something that may challenge you but will also empower you. The fact that they spoke about you does not place them above you. It does not mean they now hold the power in this situation. If anything, it reveals that you were always the one who left an impact. You were the one who gave something real, something meaningful, something that could not be easily replaced. And now they are the ones processing that truth. They are the ones facing the reality of what they once had and let go, and that shifts the dynamic completely, because you are no longer waiting for validation. You have already received it in the most indirect but powerful way, and now you get to decide what aligns with your peace, what aligns with your growth, and what aligns with the future you are building for yourself. And do not underestimate this moment, because moments like these are rare. They are the moments where hidden truths come to light, where emotional cycles begin to close or transform, where you are given the clarity you once prayed for, and it is up to you to use that clarity wisely, not emotionally, not impulsively, but consciously. And as this situation continues to unfold, remember this one thing above all else: you are not the same person who once questioned their worth because of someone else's silence. You are someone who now sees the truth even when it is not directly spoken to you. You are someone who understands that real connection is not just about feelings, it is about timing, growth, and mutual readiness. And if they are meant to be part of your journey again, it will happen in a way that does not confuse you, does not hurt you, and does not make you question yourself again. It will be clear, it will be intentional, and it will be aligned with everything you have become. And until that clarity fully arrives, stay in your power, stay in your peace, and let their words remain what they are for now, a revelation, not a conclusion. My beloved child, now you are entering the most powerful phase of this entire revelation, the part where everything becomes real, not just for them, but for you. Because what started as silence breaking has now turned into an energetic shift that neither of you can ignore anymore. And here is the truth that will shake you even deeper. After speaking about you, after letting your name and your memory escape their guarded heart, something inside them did not settle. It did not bring them peace. It actually stirred something stronger, something more restless. Because when truth comes out, it does not simply disappear, it demands to be faced, it demands to be understood, and most importantly, it demands action. And this is exactly where they are right now, standing in a space where they can no longer pretend that you meant nothing, where they can no longer hide behind distractions or excuses, because once a person admits your value even in conversation, they begin to confront the reality of your absence in a much more intense way, and that is when everything starts to change, slowly but surely, and you need to understand what is happening inside them at this very moment, because while you are processing what they said, they are processing what they feel, and those are two very different battles. You are gaining clarity, but they are facing conflict. They are questioning their past choices, replaying moments where they could have done things differently, feeling the weight of opportunities they let slip away. And this kind of realization is not easy to carry. It creates an internal pressure that grows with time, especially when the person they are thinking about is someone who truly mattered, someone who showed them a kind of connection that they have not been able to replace, and that someone is you. And here is where the energy intensifies even more, because once a person reaches this level of awareness, they begin to feel a pull, a strong urge to either reconnect or at least find closure, and this is not something they can easily ignore. It shows up in their thoughts unexpectedly, it appears in quiet moments, it interrupts their focus, and sometimes it even manifests as a feeling they cannot explain, a mix of longing, regret, and curiosity all at once. And this is where you may begin to notice subtle signs, small shifts, things that may seem coincidental but are actually Connected to this deeper process, they may start checking on you indirectly, asking about you, watching from a distance, or even finding reasons to come closer without fully revealing their intentions yet, because they are still navigating their own emotions, still trying to understand what they truly want and whether they are ready to face you again. And this is where your awareness becomes your greatest strength. Because you must not let these subtle movements pull you back into confusion. You must see them for what they are, signs of internal struggle, not yet signs of full clarity, and this distinction is everything, because many people mistake attention for intention. They see someone slowly coming back into their space and assume that everything has changed, but the truth is, real change is not subtle. Real change becomes undeniable over time. It shows up with consistency, with effort, with clear communication, not just silent observation or indirect actions, and this is why you must stay grounded in your growth, because you have already done the hardest part. You have faced the silence, you have endured the distance, you have questioned everything and still found your way back to yourself, and now you are being placed in a position of power, a position where you no longer have to chase answers because the answers are coming to you in ways you never expected, and this is not just about them anymore. This is about you stepping into a higher level of understanding, where you recognize that love is not proven by hidden feelings or spoken words behind your back. Love is proven by presence, by effort, by the courage to show up openly and honestly, and if they are truly meant to be part of your life again, they will have to rise to that level. They will have to move beyond speaking about you and actually step into your reality with truth and intention, and until that happens, you must not lower your standards to meet someone where they once were. You must hold your position, your peace, your self-respect, because that is what will either inspire them to grow or reveal that they are not ready for the kind of connection you deserve. And here is something that will hit you deeply. The moment they spoke about you was not just a release for them. It was the beginning of a realization that you were never ordinary in their life. You were never replaceable. And that truth is something they will continue to face whether they act on it or not. And this is why you must not feel the need to prove your worth anymore. You must not feel the urge to remind them of what you meant, because they are already seeing it. They are already feeling it. And now it is their responsibility to decide what they will do with that realization, not yours. Your responsibility is to continue becoming the person you have been growing into, to continue building a life that does not depend on someone else's recognition, because when you reach that level, everything changes. You no longer attract confusion, you no longer entertain uncertainty. You only align with what is clear, what is genuine, and what is ready. And as this situation continues to unfold, there will come a moment where everything becomes visible, where their intentions become clear, where their actions either match their words or fall short of them. And when that moment arrives, you will not feel lost. You will not feel unsure. You will know exactly what to do, because you have already been through the lessons that prepared you for this, and that is the true purpose of this entire experience, not just to reveal what they said, but to reveal who you have become in the process, someone who no longer waits in silence, someone who no longer settles for half-truths, someone who understands their value without needing constant reassurance, and that, my beloved child, is the real shift, the real transformation, the part that truly changes everything, because no matter what they choose to do next, you are no longer in the same place, you are no longer the same person, and that means your future will not repeat your past unless you allow it. So stand firm in your truth, stay aligned with your growth, and let everything else reveal itself in its own time, because what is meant for you will never need to be forced. It will arrive with clarity, with certainty, and with a presence that speaks louder than any words ever could.